All right, hey guys, I am live here today. I'm going to show you how I created, if you can see back here, this tabletop using just acrylic paints and epoxy. First I was just going to do an epoxy pour over a painted surface, but I think a lot of people want to see how to do kind of the paint pour like I did back there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on this canvas. I don't have a piece of furniture to really do that on right now, so I'm just going to do it on this canvas here. So I have everything set up. I'll try to answer questions as we go, but if I can't, I don't have really help today, but if at the end of the video I will try to answer any questions. Okay, so I'm just going to start with, if we want to kind of duplicate this look back here, I primarily used white and gray and a little bit of gold. So I think I'm just going to try to kind of recreate that look again with acrylic paints. You don't have to use acrylic paints. You can use chalk paint. You can use latex paint. I just found the acrylic paint's a little bit less expensive than chalk paint, I guess because I got them on sale. So that's what I'm going to use today. In fact, I'm actually using metallics because I think they give a really pretty effect. So here, and these are just from Michaels. This one's called the color is 24 karat gold by Americana Decor. And that one's 24 karat gold. And then I have this kind of pearlescent color, almost like an off-white. It's pearl, I guess is what that one is. And then carbon or charcoal, it's a little dark color here. And then also this silver, and then white. So I may just go ahead and do all of those colors, but because I primarily want white, I'm just gonna kind of use small amounts of this. It just really depends on what effect you're going for. And to be honest, sometimes I don't even know what I'm gonna get. I just pour and you get what you get. So you want to definitely choose colors that will work well together though. You don't want them to muddy together. Do you like this little box I created? So all this just drips down into this box instead of getting all over plastic. Okay, so I'm going to turn you a little bit so you can see all the products here. So you'll want plastic cups, stir sticks or plastic spoons. You're going to want some Floetrol, which I just get this from Home Depot. It is a paint extender, I guess what you want to call it. It's just going to help to level out your paint, make it flow a little bit easily over the surface. So I'm just going to start kind of mixing the paints here. If you're on, I don't know if I can see comments. If you could just, someone comment. I see I have 11 viewers, but if you can comment out, I don't know if I'm seeing I'm not seeing comments right now, but maybe there's not that many people watching. So, okay. I primarily want white. So I'm going to start with my white. And again, depending on how much surface you have to cover, this is a small canvas, so I'm not going to need a whole lot of it. I should probably have stirred these up a little bit. Let me just give these a shake here, guys. Okay, so equal parts of paint. Oh, hi Karen. Hi Bernadette. Okay, I'm seeing comments. Good. So equal parts, paint, and then your Floetrol. About equal parts. Again, the Floetrol is just going to help to kind of, oh, I should have, you know what? Hold on, guys. Let me shake this up a little bit. I should have shaken my stuff before I started. Hold on, I'm going to dump some of this out here. Okay. Now that I got paint all over this, it's hard to see my equal parts, but try to get about equal parts. You'll also want gloves. I'm very messy. And then you'll just want to stir that. Let me just get them all poured here first, I guess. And And then let's go ahead and do, I don't want a whole lot. Again, I have a small piece though, so. Okay, do a little bit of the pearl color. I really should have stirred these up before I got on here.
Your food's ready, baby girl.
Oh, a little much, that's okay. And I think I'm just gonna do a dirty pour. That's what I did when I did the tops. Which dirty pour is just, I'm just gonna put all these colors into one cup and pour it onto the surface. You could pour them on individually, and that'll control kind of how much of each color, I suppose, more than if you didn't do the dirty pour. Let me just move these aside so I don't get confused as to which ones I've used here. Have the black done, the pearl, do a little bit of silver. It's probably too many colors for this little piece, but this is what I used on the table behind me, so. Okay, and then a little bit of the gold here. Which I actually think, I actually have some Floetrol already in this one. So, I don't know that I need much Floetrol in here. It's pretty thin, that's how I can tell, because it's already really watery. Okay, so now we're just gonna mix all of those up. So Karen, I just, in a second here, in fact, I'll show you, I tape everything off around the piece, and then I lay plastic under it. So it does just flow off the sides. You could create a little dam with tape, but not with an acrylic pour. I don't think you can do that. With epoxy, you could do that, and then pull the tape off kind of after you've created the dam, and then it'll self-level over the sides. But this isn't really gonna self-level if you don't. Basically, I just tape underneath my ledge, and then I put plastic all around, and then tape on the floor, and then I just let it flow off the sides, is how I do that. So it's messy, it's very messy. So I'm just mixing up all of these here. Which I'm going to show you here just a second. I have a piece next to me here that we're going to pour the epoxy on after I'm done with this paint pour. The other thing I think I'm going to add, which I believe I did on most pieces, is a little bit of this silicone oil additive. It creates these cells, or they look kind of like bubbles. It separates the paint, and it creates these really cool effects. However, sometimes it can definitely start to look very snake-like, because you can get different really big cells that maybe you don't really want in your piece. So be careful with the oil. Maybe don't use too much of it. I'm just going to put it in one color. I don't want all of my colors to have it in there, because then you'll just have, like I said, it looks like a snake skin. That's what it looks like to me, which is cool, but not what I was trying to go for on this kind of piece behind me. What was added to the paint? Oh, the Floetrol. It is just a paint extender. I think people have used water. I haven't done that. I've always used this Floetrol from Home Depot. Or I think Home Depot, Lowe's have it. Again, it just thins your paint. It makes it more Can you see that, guys? I don't know if you can see it. Very watery. Here, and then let me show you what we're gonna work on here in a second. Let me see, turn my camera. Okay, see, that's a piece we're gonna work on in just a minute. So do you see what I mean by, I just have plastic all over the floor, I've taped around the piece, and this is what we're gonna pour the epoxy on here in a little bit. The drops I just get from Michael's, Joanne, I think I got mine from Amazon. So let me see here. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me show you what I'm going to do next, I guess. Okay. I need a kind of a larger cup. Because I think this is not going to be... Let me grab a cup here. Okay. So again, back here, what I did is I poured just... Oh, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and add my oil in now. I think to the... I don't know, guys, what do you think? The gray, the black? What would you like to see kind of the cells in? I think up here, it's more in my gray. Sorry, and was the oil. The oil, it's just silicone oil additive that you're going to get from a craft store. It's going to help create cells or little bubbles. I think I'm just going to do, that's probably too much. Some in the gray. Let's see what we get here. Mix that in there. Okay, so I'm going to take a separate cup and I'm going to put my white at the bottom of it, I believe. Again, it's all going to, it just depends how it comes out. I'm going to, when I pour it on here, I'm going to do a dirty pour where I just pour them all into here and I put it on my canvas and tip, and I'm just going to lift and let all those colors kind of mix together is how I'm going to do that. So, pour a little bit of my white. And I'm just going to pour in the next color. It doesn't have, order I don't think matters, but I always save a little bit of it because in case I need to add a little bit more to it. Let's go ahead and do a little gold. The silver, and then I'll probably do a little more white. And then this pearlescent color. Okay. See how much I've got left here. Okay. That's probably enough for this canvas. Okay. Questions to move around on your dresser? I actually lifted it. I took the drawers out and I just lifted up on the edges and just kind of, you know, pushed it around. I did pour a lot more paint than I really needed, so I didn't have to do too much tilting to it, but you could also use, I guess, a heat gun. But I was afraid the heat gun would dry my acrylic faster than it would move it around, so I just had to lift the piece. Now, I know you can't lift every piece. I do understand that. In that case, if you have a big piece, I would just say it's better to put your paint into your epoxy and then pour it that way. Because epoxy, you can use the heat to really push that around. Whereas if you use heat on paints like this, I think it's going to dry really fast. Okay, let me just move everything here so I can center this more for you guys. Okay. Okay, so we're ready to see here what we get. Is that good? Can you guys see it? Should I move in closer? Is that good there? So again, on my dresser, I had to pour. I couldn't do this to my dresser, so I did just actually pour it. Kind of just letting that drip down the sides, letting it come all out here. Okay, so we're just gonna lift, kind of see what we get. I see already these cells. Can you guys see the cells okay? Are you able to see that? wonder if I can zoom in. I don't know if I can zoom in. So pretty. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I just got a big old glob of paint on the floor. I'm just going to let that kind of work its way out, guys. Hold on, let me drip paint on the floor. I didn't lay plastic under here. Okay. All right, so do you see how pretty that is? You see kind of all those cells? So I don't want to lose those cells by doing a whole lot of tilting. So you could, I should grab a straw. You could just grab a straw and kind of blow some of this stuff out a little bit, because these cells, when you go to tilt, they're going to get, I wish I could zoom you guys in a little bit more. They're going to get really big. Do you see those? Cells are really cool looking. So if you don't want to lose them, do you see what I'm saying? See how big those cells get when you do that? Then what I could just do is move some of this other paint that I don't want. Like if I want to keep these cells small, I'm going to push this paint out here with like a, I should grab a straw real quick, guys. And just kind of blow the paint over. Let me grab a, well, it's okay, but do you see what I'm saying by those large cells? So I guess I could always pour, if I don't like that, you could just, that's why I saved some of my paint. I would just pour over that and then just move the canvas around again. But isn't that so pretty? So what I'm going to do is just, because I don't want to keep tilting it so much, so where's some of my white here? Just so I can get my edges. So that's what the oil does. If you don't want that look, then don't do the oil. I thought it might be kind of fun to show you what the oil does, so that's why I did that. You know what? Hold on, guys. I am going to grab a straw because I don't want to keep tilting it. Just a second. Let me grab one. Well, yeah, Bernadette, that's, you really can't mess it up. Sometimes you're not sure what you're going to get. So, I just buy a bunch of these little canvases, and I practiced a lot before I did these pours, just so I could see what effect I wanted. And then I recorded myself doing it so I could go back and see what did I do to get that effect. Let me grab a straw, guys, just a minute. So you can use a straw, just kind of blow your paint around a little bit too. That'll make some of those cells a little bit bigger. Maybe put some new bows on here. I primarily wanted more white, but I don't know that I got that. Let me just move it a little bit over here. It's a little thick over here, so I'm actually gonna try to push off some of these cells a little bit because I didn't want too much of the black cells, but that's what it made. I don't think I put much black in the one behind me. I don't think I did any black actually. I think I just focused on the gray and whites and golds. Oh, there's a glob of something in my paint right there. Grab a little more white just to get around my edges here. Hi, Lisa. Okay, Bernard, so more simple would just be don't add that oil because you see all those like bubbly looking things on here? That's from the oil. I did not add, I think I added like 1 drop of oil to this gray, this dresser behind me to get more of that. And the lines, the reason I got the lines there too, Lisa, is because Bernadette, sorry, is because I poured all of my paint into 1 cup and then I actually just poured like this and I went this direction with it. I went like that. Whereas here, we had our cup under our canvas and then I flipped it and put the cup up and that's why it just spread out into this kind of design. Whereas back there, I poured this direction. Does that make sense? And that's what created kind of the lines back there. Everyone's going to be different, you guys. I did 3 of these and they're kind of a matching set. You probably can't see all of them, but they're all different. But I think that's what makes them kind of cool. And again, if you're not sure, I would just go pick up some of these boards, canvases. I've used cut up plywood and just really practice. If you're thinking of doing this on a piece of furniture and you're afraid you're going to mess it up, you know, that was a commission set for somebody. So I really want to get, I really had a vision for it and I wanted that. So I had to practice a little bit to get what I wanted. Paint pours are kind of new to me, guys. I'm really also still just learning. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have any questions on that, but I think I'm going to move it aside. So it's obviously once it's dry. So like when I did the dressers and the nightstands, I let them dry overnight. And then I came back and did the clear epoxy over that. And you could skip that step by go ahead and putting your paint into your epoxy and pouring it. But I was very scared to do that because I didn't know what effect I was going to get. And I didn't want to do a bunch of practice boards with epoxy because it's not cheap. The amazing clear cast resin is like $30 a box. So I didn't want to practice that way. So I found it just simpler to do it this way. Just do the paint pour and then pour my epoxy over that. Okay, so I think I'm done with that. I'm pretty happy. I think that's pretty neat looking. Can you do it with any colors? Yes. I would just choose colors that look good together though, because you don't want them like, well, unless you want them muddied together. I would be afraid that some colors would muddy up. Actually today I really wanted to do like blue, black, and white and gray. I thought that would be kind of pretty too. But I think everyone wanted to kind of see how I did that one back there. Okay, so I'm going to move this stuff aside, and if you guys are ready to see how to do the resin, let me just put some caps back on my paint here. Okay, let me move you guys a little bit here. Okay, now this will be a first for me, so we'll see how this goes. This is just a little table I picked up. They're pretty cheap, and I stenciled this design Well, I painted it, of course, stenciled. This is a transfer. This is not painted. This is redesigned with Prima transfer. I have never put epoxy over a transfer, but I think it will work. So my worry would be that the epoxy would lift the transfer, but again, you guys are gonna see if I fail at this. I also did a little bit of decor wax. This is redesigned with Prima Eternal Wax. Wax and epoxy do not go together, guys. So I did this yesterday. I let it dry, and then I did a clear coat of clear satin by Dixie Belle. It's a polyacrylic over the whole thing because I didn't want the wax to interfere with the epoxy. So I thought sealing it with the polyacrylic would make the epoxy so it would adhere to this kind of wax. We'll find out. What I also did was just, after I sealed it, I did a quick little sanding with like a 320 grit sandpaper, wiped it off, and then I used a little bit of denatured alcohol because I didn't want any oils or dust on this table when you put the epoxy on there. You don't want it to interfere with curing. And as you can see, I got the plastic all on the floor. It's taped around the kind of the base of the piece. I didn't, because of all the curvatures, I really couldn't get right up to the edges. But I found out a little secret. If you use a little Vaseline just under the lip, when the epoxy goes over this, it's not going to stick to the Vaseline. So therefore, when it's all cured, you kind of can just wipe it. You're going to have these drips that come underneath of here. You're going to want to clean those drips off before it completely cures, which is about probably about, I think 60 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes, I believe, guys, is I have to look, is the time where you can't work with it anymore, but then that's when you'd want to clean off these drips here. Okay, so this part's going to be kind of boring. I'm going to mix the epoxy. I'm going to need to time it. You have to stir it for 3 minutes, almost exactly, of these two parts. So this part might be kind of boring here for you guys. What I'm using is from Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, they have it. It's amazing resin, coating and casting resin is this one. Again, it's clear. And you have to measure it equal parts. When you open it up, you have a couple of stir sticks in here, and you've got your A and your B parts. So you have to mix equal parts of A and B. And it's really, really stressed on the instructions, equal parts by volume. So I also would recommend picking up something like this. I've already cleaned it out too with a little bit of alcohol just to make sure there's no waxes or anything in here. And it's got your measuring right on there, so I know I can do the equal parts. So A and B, so 2 parts going here. How much you need is always hard for me to decide. 16 ounces does, I think, 4 square feet. So this is less than 4 square feet. So 16 ounces should work for this. I have a 32 ounce kit right now though, so I'm not gonna mix all 32 ounces. I'm probably gonna mix 16, and it's gonna pour off the sides. It self levels, so it is supposed to pour off the sides of this, and I'm gonna and it's messy. It's very messy. The way you clean it up, if you do get it on yourself or on your floor, is denatured alcohol. So I recommend having denatured alcohol on hand. I am so messy when I do this stuff. Even though I like plastic, I somehow step in it, and it's in my toes, and I've even gotten in my hair. I had to cut some of my hair off because I was like getting really close to it, and I just got my hair in it. Anyway, so pull your hair up. You want tight fitted clothes on, not loose fitting clothes that's gonna get all over your piece. So a couple little pointers I found out along the way. Okay, let me stop talking and mix this here. Hey babe, can I have your phone please? You're gonna want a timer with this. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you want to see this part or not. I can turn the camera. Can you tell Daddy to get me his phone, buddy? Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna do 16 ounces, or let's see, I'm gonna do 2 8s, right? 2 8 ounces, so I make 16 total. Okay. Yeah. It should be enough. And gloves, guys. Get your gloves. It's so messy. I'm trying to get my husband to bring me his phone because I have to time it. Is that what you use on dressers? Yes, Bernadette. This is what I used on the dressers. This is clear resin epoxy. Okay, so your A and your B side. Which I probably have to, darn it, hold on, I gotta get the little foil. I'll forget you. want to have on hand probably a heat gun. Tweezers are helpful because I always get little pieces of dust in my epoxy when I pour. I don't know why, but I get little pieces of like hair or something in them. So tweezers are good. What else is there? Heat gun, or I'm just using this little like blowtorch. It pops the bubbles. You're gonna get a bunch of bubbles that rise to the surface. If you don't pop them, they will cure and you'll see little bubbles in your piece. So you don't really want to see the little bubbles. That's just normal. It's the gases in the epoxy is what creates the bubbles. You can minimize that by stirring really slow and having your epoxy be a little bit warmer. So maybe put it in a sink with some hot water for a few minutes will warm up your epoxy. So again, I'm just going to mix my A and my B equal parts. I'm going to pour it over here. I'm probably going to pour it on the floor because I need it to be level. You know what, guys? Hold on. I think, let me see. I have another cup that I think would work better. Let me see how much this will do. I think I'm going to use this cup. It's a little smaller. So I think I want 18. I'm going to do 18 ounces. Okay, so I don't know if you can see me. I can turn the camera. Just going to pour slowly. Or try to pour slowly. It takes forever. It's really, I probably should have warmed this up. It's really thick right now. I don't think slow is going to happen. Because this might take forever. Babe, can I get your phone, please? Babe, can I get your phone?
Huh?
I need the timer. Nope, stay out, please. Okay, just a minute. Let me finish this.
Can you give me back Lammy, baby? You said you would give me back
Just a minute.
and my TV and let me
Yes, you can have
have
it
my
back.
Roku box
Are
now.
you starting it now?
No, not yet. But can you just have it? Is it going to be locked?
Well, yeah, it's 1227 is the password.
Okay.
122786, sorry.
Okay.
There it is.
Thank you.
Obs, come on, baby girl.
Yes, but she can have her Blammy baby back.
And put in my Roku box.
Okay, we'll get it all in here.
Okay, so I've got 8. I'm just trying to debate if I want to pour. I always like to have extra. It's better to have a little more than less, because then if I don't have enough, then I have to remix it, and that takes 3 minutes because I have to stir it for 3 minutes. So I think I'm just gonna do. I'm at 8 ounces. I'm gonna just do 10, which means 20. I don't know. I just want to have a little more than, not enough, I guess, because so much of it is gonna pour off my sides. Okay. So that was my part A. Part B, again, equal parts. Pouring slowly, it just takes forever. But you'll get more bubbles the faster this stuff comes out. You can let the epoxy sit after you stir it. You can let it sit for a couple minutes, and that will, the bubbles will rise to the top, and you can kind of smush them against the sides of your cup. Okay guys, so I got equal parts mixed. You want to set your timer. Let me grab my husband's phone, see if I can figure out how to use this thing. Oh, hold on, I have to take my glove off. I don't know how to use these iPhones. Okay, well, I don't know how to use my husband's phone. You know what? I'm just gonna have to swipe up to unlock. Okay, there. God. Like, I don't know his password. Okay, so is that gonna be big enough? Yeah. About 3 minutes is what it said. So it says on the instructions, it's very vague on the instructions. Sorry guys, I'm sure I'm like boring you to death. 2 to 3 minutes. So basically you're gonna see, I'll try to bring you closer. You're gonna see like bubbles and you'll see these kind of white swirls in your epoxy. So you can see that. So I want to just stir until I don't really see those white swirls. Is basically what it tells you. Scraping the sides of it. Making sure you're getting all of it. Again, it says to stir slowly, I think, because you're going to get more bubbles the faster you stir. Phone shut off again, so I don't know what my timer's at here. A lot of bubbles. I'm seeing lots of bubbles. Again, you can let this set for like 2-3 minutes after you stir and try to let those bubbles rise to the top. And then you just kind of take them along the sides of your cup like this and like pop them. But I'll pop them once I pour it. I'll use that little blowtorch. This stuff really is easier to use than you think. It's just messy and it can get kind of pricey. I did this on my bathroom countertops. I created a marble effect with paints and then I just poured the epoxy and it's great. We love it. It looks like real marble. And it was much more cost effective than buying a marble. It's very durable. You just clean it with like, treat it like you would glass. Clean it with like Windex. I don't use harsh chemicals on it. I think that would probably break it down over time. Okay, so I'm not seeing a lot of swirls. I don't know what my timer's at. I'm just seeing a lot of bubbles. So I think it's about ready to be poured on the surface. I need to check my timer and see if this is ready here. I feel like it's been 3 minutes, has it not? Oh, yep, we're almost there. Okay. A lot of bubbles in it right now, guys, but I'm not too worried about the bubbles. I've done this enough to know I can get them out with popping them with the little blowtorch. And to save you guys from having to sit here for another 30 minutes or so. All right, can you see that table? So again, for those of you just joining, this has been painted. I did a stamp and then I did a transfer. I have never put epoxy over a transfer, guys. So I think it should be okay. I burnished it really well. I did a clear coat of polyacrylic over it. And then I wiped it down to make sure there was nothing on it, like dust or oils from my skin. You just want to make sure that epoxy, I've had issues with epoxy, not, it just basically, it created divots. And I think that's where I probably had some oil or something on the piece that didn't get cleaned off. And it just made these divots where it wasn't smooth. You can do another pour of epoxy over it. I think 4 to 6 hours after your initial pour, you can do another pour if you had to level out those divots, but you have to pour it over the entire surface so it can self-level over the whole thing and fill those divots. I've had to do that before, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm probably going to be coming in front of here, guys, but I'm going to try not to block the camera. I'm just going to pour it more to the center, and then I'm going to use just a flat, like I wish I had a larger stir stick like this, to just kind of push it out along my edges, because a lot of it's going to drip off to the side. I don't want too much waste if I can help it. So I'm gonna focus it kind of in the middle here and then push it out to the sides. Again, self-levels. It's pretty amazing. You can see when you push it, it just kind of whoop, like glows back in together. So it's pretty cool. Okay, making sure there's no dust. That's the other problem, is a dust-free environment. I always have dust in my epoxy when it's finished. I have tweezers and I sit here and I pull out little pieces of lint, but you're almost always gonna get dust, I think, in it. It's impossible. Okay, let me make sure my plastic is really good. Okay. Okay, so are we ready here? I'm gonna try to do it as evenly as I can. Kind of missed a spot over there, that's okay. This is like so exciting for me. I love doing this stuff. It's a little scary. Sometimes you just don't know what you're gonna get. But that's what I love about art, is I love experimenting and just trying new things. And I do it on stuff that's pretty inexpensive or free, so that way if I ruin it, it just goes to the dump. Okay, so you see how it's just kind of sitting here? And this is what I'm gonna, I don't know if you can see that, I'm just gonna push this out now. Actually, I may even heat it with my heat gun just a little bit, because I can see it doesn't want to move too terribly well for me. Make it a little more fluid with the heat. That's already popping bubbles too, guys, just using that heat gun right now. The bubbles really rise to the top about 10, I'm gonna turn on my heat gun, about 10 to 15 minutes after you pour is when you're really gonna see it. So now I'm just gonna fill my gaps along the piece. I can already see like little pieces of dust. It's so frustrating. I don't know where that comes from. I poured it on black because I really want you guys to be able to see it. Okay, so when I make sure it's kind of evenly coated along my whole surface here, I'm going to go ahead and push it to the sides. And let it drip over the sides. I am actually going to use my cup and try to catch some of it, because I might need it to pour on a spot that's maybe not filling. So I did try to catch some of my drips. Don't do this too late at night either, because, unless you're a night owl, because you have to pull this tape that I have around the piece about 2 to 3 hours after you pour your epoxy. Otherwise, you're going to have tape stuck to your piece, okay? So so pretty. I love it on the black. So messy. I'm just having my cup under it so I can catch some of the epoxy in case I need it for filling. Looks like it's going over my gilded wax pretty well. I usually can tell because it will just kind of like, some spots it's kind of not wanting, I can tell it's not wanting to stick. Like oil and water, like wants to separate. You have 30 minutes, I think, or so to work with this before it starts to set up. So once it's all, it's 3 to 7 days full cure time. Meaning that's when you can use it and clean it and all of that. So I see a couple spots. It's a little bit thicker. Just gonna pull that out here. It has a lot of curves to it, guys. use a brush, but I didn't want to throw away one of my brushes, so I'm using this throwaway stick. I'm trying to see if it's going to stick to the gilding wax down here. Like I said, epoxy and waxes don't go well together, guys, so but I painted over the gilding wax with a water-based polyacrylic, so hopefully it would have good adhesion. Okay, so now I'm all the way around it. I can see some areas where it's not like quite level. Again, it'll self-level, so I'm not too concerned, but I got some epoxy in my cup. I'm just going to make sure by kind of going around and making sure. If you get down to eye level is where you're going to see where it might need. You'll see. I know you can't see it on the camera, guys, but if you get down to eye level with the piece, you're going to see where there's some places that you missed. So just fully. Oh, you know what it's doing? Oh no, it's not. Never mind. Thought it was pulling some of my wax off, but it's not. That's just my transfer. My transfer's up. It looks good. Well, it's not coming up that I can tell. So I see a couple spots over here that didn't get it. So I'm just going to make sure. Again, self-level, so you're going to see some of this come off the top. It'll just kind of flow off on its own. But to be safe, I'm going to make sure everything's fully coated. And then now I'm also going to start looking for bubbles and or pieces of lint, which I don't have my tweezers. My husband is supposed to grab me his tweezers. Okay, you're going to get these, I think I told you already, but you're going to get these drips. That's okay. Leave the drips. And then in about 60, 70 minutes or so, I'm going to come back and I'm just going to take like one of these would work, or a putty knife, metal scraper or something, and scrape along your edges to get those little bubbles, or the drips, I should say, off the sides. So it looks pretty good. I can see a couple of spots where I think it may not be sticking. Probably because if I didn't get it wiped down really good with a little bit of alcohol, then it will do that. I don't know if you guys have any questions. I'll try to come back up here and see if there's any questions. Okay, so I think here's where I can go ahead and start taking my heat gun to it and popping bubbles. I see a couple little divots over here. It's gonna fill a little bit more. I always get a little worried when I see the divots, because sometimes I think that that's probably where it may not be fully adhering. That's usually because of your surface prep. Like, again, making sure it's nice and clean and free of waxes and debris. Okay, not a lot of air bubbles. Looking pretty good. I see some lint. I'm actually really surprised that it's doing so well over the transfer. So pretty. Okay, so maybe the heat gun here, guys. The heat gun pops the bubbles pretty well. I don't even know that I need to blow a torch for it. Oh, it's so sticky, guys. You get it on your fingers. Awful. So heat gun. I wish I could show. You know what? I could probably flip my camera around, guys. Or hold my camera and try to show you what I mean. Hold on, let me turn this off. So I'm just gonna, let me see, can I flip this? Hold on, guys. Okay. Woo, look at that shine. Okay, I don't know if you can see, I don't want to watch my noise, like I'll drop my camera on this here. Can you guys see any bubbles? I'm I'm trying to show you like a bubble, but, or I'll just take my heat gun to it. It's gonna get loud for a second, guys. And I'm just popping. I can see them, you maybe can't, but trying to get my light. See, there's a little divot I was talking about right in that area. Again, I'm not too worried. I think it's going to self-level out. Again, this is just the heat gun. Sorry it's so loud. And I'm just popping the bubbles. And they'll continue to rise for the next 15 minutes after your pour. So I just kind of stay in here and and you don't want to keep your heat gun in one spot for too long. You don't want to burn your epoxy. That'll mess up your curing. Oh, so did you see those bubbles? I thought black would be the way to go because you guys would be able to see them. But then they just kind of pop. See that glistening? That's them popping right now. It's really pretty, guys. I'm loving it. Gonna look like smooth as glass. It's gonna be so pretty. I haven't actually painted the base of this table yet, which I'll probably just do black as well. Black will show everything, so I think I probably had a couple pieces of dust before I even started on it. I can see them, but I don't know that I want to really try to get them out. It's gonna get you down to eye level here. Isn't that pretty? Look at that shine. There's a couple spots back here. I think I'm going to try to put a little more epoxy down. So my other concern, sometimes guys, I've noticed it with the dresser, like this is so, because of the lip, the edge on it, it's like when the epoxy self-levels, it's very thin. Like it's hard for it to keep epoxy thick over that. Now, if you created a dam with tape, hi Cynthia, give me just a minute. If you created a dam, you'd be able to kind of get that a little thicker, but I have noticed it's very thin along those, like, I'm gonna take you back to this dresser that I did. So like over here, like right here, like that's my dresser. It was just so thin, those like edges. So it's hard to create a dam with tape though on this kind of like beveled edge. So it's okay. It doesn't bother me, but I'm just telling you, you may have like some thinner spots. Like this feels like nice and thick and like glossy, and then out here it's a little sharp. Like the epoxy didn't really go over that very well. It just kind of kept gliding off of it. Okay, so Joan, this is epoxy pour over a painted surface. I just poured the epoxy probably 10 minutes ago or so, and give me just a minute, baby. So the surface is painted. This was wood. I painted it black. I did a stencil, and then I did this transfer over here. And then I just, I did a little bit of polyacrylic over the top of that just to make sure that the transfer was stuck down really well. And then I just poured the polyacrylic over it, which is just a really thick, high gloss, sheen, what do you want to call it? Top coat, I guess you can call it. And that's also what I did back here. That's somebody you were interested in seeing. And then we just actually did a paint pour a little bit ago here. That's how that has turned out. This was just one we just did a little bit ago with a little bit of silicone oil and acrylic paints, trying to kind of duplicate what I did over here. However, obviously it did not turn out the same, but that's because I was saying it's good to practice, trying to get different techniques before you do it on a piece of furniture. We'll be listening to today's project somewhere. So this one I'll post up for sale once I'm finished with it. And I'll also share them on my page. Yeah, Lisa, isn't that so pretty? I mean, it looks like glass. I just love it. I'm looking too to make sure. There's might be a couple areas. I can see some divots. I don't know why. I don't know why it's giving me these little divots. I can kind of see them. I don't know if you guys can see them. Maybe not. I thought you guys would be able to see them. That's why I painted it black, because I thought, oh, you guys will be able to see black, but maybe I shouldn't have done black. I see like a little hair right there. Do you see that? I need my tweezers, and my husband didn't bring them to me, so I may have to leave the hair. But yeah, isn't that pretty? I'm going to put you guys back up on the stand and see about filling in a couple of more spots. And my kids are wanting me to say goodnight to them. Hold on. Yes, Bernadette, it'll stay shiny. Oh no, what'd I do? What'd I do? Okay, sorry, I'm turned off my phone. Hi, Chelsea. You better comment. What do you think? I think it would go with your house best, Chelsea. Okay, so let me just do a little bit more. Hold on, let me put our glove on here. Hold on, let me give my son a kiss. Good night, buddy. I love you.
No,
Okay, I'll come up in just a minute.
On the block, please come fast.
Okay, I'll come up just a minute. Give mommy a minute.
No.
I'm just gonna pour a little bit more. Oh, it's so sticky, so messy. Hold on, I need a second glove. I only put one glove on. Again, I just see a divot, and I think it'll self-level out, but I always get scared. I've had divots before, and I'm so mad that I didn't catch it. And these edges, I can already tell, like, it's just rolling off these edges. So I don't know how well it's going to do over these beveled edges. Because it just rolls off, so it's hard for it to like get really thick along an edge. So I'm just looking. To see, okay. So again, in about 2 to 3 hours, I can pull the tape. And the reason I don't want to pull it yet is because obviously it's still self-leveling. It self-levels over the next couple hours. And then if you wait too long, you're never going to get your tape off. It's just going to stick. You want to pull your tape when you start to pull your tape, if it's stringy, like Laffy Taffy, stop pulling it. Don't pull anymore because it's just going to be stringy like Laffy Taffy. Just wait a little bit longer. When you pull the tape, you basically shouldn't be getting any kind of stringiness from your epoxy. And then again, those drips, I'm going to show you, bring the camera back down here. These drips, I'm going to also take off here in about probably about 45 minutes. I'm going to go along it with a metal scraper to get those drips off. Because otherwise they'll just cure with a bunch of drips underneath the lip of your piece. I put some wax under there, hoping it would just deflect them, but I don't think it's doing that. So I want to get this piece of hair, guys, but I don't think I should put my fingers down in it. Ugh, that's going to bug me though. There is like a little piece of hair. Okay, so really that is about it, guys. I can't think of anything else to mention right now. I'm gonna do a little bit more of the heat gun. Can you put the wax on after the resin? No, Bernadette, I don't think you can do that. I would put the wax on. You're talking about under the lip of my piece. I just put a little bit of like Vaseline, I think is what I used, under the lip of it. You can't really put it on. I guess if I maybe put like a little Vaseline on my finger and ran it along the edge, but I'm not going to do that. I don't know what that would do to it. Let me take you back down and show you what I mean by the drips. See those? those I'm gonna take off when they're ready. Now they're not ready yet. Probably about 60 minutes or so. And I'm just gonna scrape along them. Oh, the gilding wax. I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you probably could. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. I bet you could. I really wanted to experiment, to be honest with you. I wanted to see, will the resin go over this wax? This is an experimental table that I didn't think I'd actually probably sell. But if it turns out nice, then I will sell it. But really just wanted to experiment. But that's a good idea. I bet you could. Except for I don't know, like if you put the gilding wax over resin, I think it would just like wipe off. I don't know that it will actually stick. Like it'll stick to it, but then if someone rubs their hand against it, I have a feeling, I don't know that it will really dry on resin, on cured resin. I'm not sure. I guess I could try it for you and see what happens. After it's cured, I'll put some on and leave it like a day, and then I'll come back and wipe at it with my finger and see if the gilding wax comes off. But I bet it would. I'm just gonna pop some more bubbles here. That one piece of lint is gonna bug me. Let's see. Try to see if I can get my husband to bring me his tweezers. Hey, babe. Hey, Axton, tell Daddy to bring me his tweezers. I need his tweezers. Well, maybe too late. Okay. Oh. Thank you, baby. Here. Here. Give Mama. Thank you. All right, guys. I don't know if I should be doing it yet, but I'm gonna try to pull this piece of lint. Oh, you know what? It's not. You know what it is? It's just a little bit of the paint. I kept thinking it was lint. It looked like lint to me. So it wasn't lint. No wonder I couldn't move it. I was trying to push it around with the heat, but it's actually just a little bit of my gold paint. So, okay, well that's okay. An imperfection, I guess. Okay, guys, so I think that's it. I've got to clean up. I've got like epoxy all over my heat gun and all over my fingers now. So I'm just going to let it be for a little bit, and then I'll pull the tape, and I'll post a picture of it tomorrow. I'll try to finish it up tomorrow, the base of it. And post a picture. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope I didn't bore you with this too much. So if you do have any questions, again, you can post them here, or this video will be up after it ends here on my page if you have any questions. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. You guys have a good night.